You're watching the Movie Dogs. We bark about the movies and nothing but the movies.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
All right, folks, welcome to Movie Dog Show podcast. I am joined with River Monster Comics' very own Joshua Church again. Ladies and gentlemen, Joshua Church has a wonderful comic book store out in Dunnellon, Florida, River Monster Comics. We are going to be talking about the master of suspense, as he has been taglined for many years. Director of Halloween, The Fog, Assault on Precinct 15, Escape from New York. The list goes on and on. The Thing. He is he's a man that can show that what little budget you got, you can go a long way with, and it is John Carpenter is what we're talking about. Josh, your first exposure to the Master of Suspense. What movie was it?
Halloween, AOG, yeah. The first time, I know it was an early memory. I know I was a little kid, and I was in my bedroom. My parents were watching it, near Halloween. It was late, and I just heard the music. And before I heard the music, the hair stood up on my arm, and I was like, "Oh God, geez, what is that?" Came around the corner and started watching it kind of stealthily. And my parents called me in, and they said, "It's okay, you can watch this one." And I sat and watched it, and immediately it was horrified, but enticed. It was a weird kind of thing, but that kind of stayed with me. In fact, I think years later, it made me, be like, I'm going to watch this movie over and over again and study it, and I almost immersed myself in it, so I'm not scared of it anymore.
Yeah. You know what? That is my first exposure to was Carpenter, was Halloween. My cousins, I was staying up with my aunt for a number of months when my mother had gotten sick, and I was staying with my aunt, and my cousins were watching Halloween on one of the premium channels, HBO or Showtime, whatever. And I can remember watching this, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Well, what's the deal with this guy in the white mask? And I couldn't understand none of it. And then a couple of years later, Halloween 2 came on its network debut on the Universal Network debut on syndication. And I'm like, God, this thing seems so familiar. Why is it being familiar? And and then I finally put two to two together and everything, and realized, oh, this is a much larger story. This is the same movie that I was watching before, and it's a sequel. And then I just got to understand who John Carpenter was, especially when it came to shortly thereafter. I was watching Big Trouble in Little China, which is one of his very underrated films.
So much fun.
I know. It showed that he can do comedy. I mean, I know what he was trying to do. I mean, I'm sure comedy is a very hard thing to master itself, but
For sure.
and he's admitted to that. But again, when you can just, especially in that stretch in the mid '80s, that a Carpenter film had. I mean, his earlier work, you can see it. He was working it out, but then by the mid '80s, he had his I would say his. Yeah, his flavor, or that one shot that can go, or that feel that you get when you're watching a movie and you turn it on and go, oh wait, no, this is a Carpenter film.
Oh, immediately.
Yeah, just by the way it's shot or something. I mean.
Well, and I think you're totally right. That whole stretch, it's he connected with all the right people.
Yeah.
And having people who worked with him on Halloween, whether you had Dean Cundy, who he was a cinematographer. and you had Tommy Lee Wallace and his whole crew of people who all were fantastic and all went on to have great careers. But like having that kind of talent in your friend pool
Yeah.
really allowed them to kind of just get together and make these movies with so much, like, I guess, fanfare and fun. You could tell that they were having a good time. Going, let's make a ghost story, and let's do The Fog, and let's do a comedy kind of Asian-filled vibe movie with Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, and that had a Western motif to it as well.
Yeah, exactly. It was another one of those kind of Western vibe movies. But like you could see, every single movie had a through line of all. You see those blue lights, lighting nighttime scene, and you go, oh, it's got to be Dean Kennedy, and then
Oh, yeah.
the way shots are framed and the music and the actors that you see, that he was very much using similar people that he had worked with.
And Dean Cooney went on to... And Dean Cooney went on to be a director of photography for many other movies. Great movies.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. He went on and just had an illustrious career.
Yeah, Back to the Future trilogy is one of the ones that are really stand out. That and he was, I think, used by Robert Zemeckis a lot. I think he did Roger Rabbit as well. And
yeah, I mean, he's one of the, like one of those behind the scenes people who's just like so famous. Everybody knows his work because he's worked on so many things.
And he didn't have to go into direct either. Many director of photography, DPs and cinematographers, they go on and start becoming a director of their own right. But Dean Cooney never did. He stuck to what he knew best and knew that his limitations were, or his specialties were that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he knew what he was good at, and he leaned into it. But all of those, I guess, co-conspirators for John Carpenter just elevated so much of his work. And film is a collaborative art,
Yes.
and every single person just brought so much of that stretch of films. It's like every year for Halloween I've got to watch every single one of them because they're just all great.
Oh, I know.
And I just appreciate them so much, just for the artistry behind everything. But I mean, just Carpenter, he's so great. He's just great.
I mean, what would you rank as his top 5 films?
Oof, that's tough. I mean, Halloween's definitely at the top. The Fog is right up there too. As much as some people don't really give that one as much love, The Fog I just absolutely love. And Escape from New York, love that one. Big Trouble, is probably the next one on the list. And I tried to pick the last one. Oh man, that's so hard. Yeah, I mean probably vampires.
Yeah.
But like if you look across, I mean every movie, really from Halloween all the way to vampires, there's not a bad one. Prince of Darkness is another one I love.
Yeah.
And nobody talks about that one, but that one's really good.
It's crazy because you forget some of those, like Children of the Dam. He did a remake of Children of the Dam.
Exactly, forgot all about that one. Jeez.
Yeah, and it's not that bad a film. It didn't do well in the box office, but I mean, it's actually, I think, one of Christopher Lee's last roles before his accident. And
I love that.
yes, and and it put a lot of actors and actresses that you don't normally see, because he didn't use the big name humongous stars and everything, but he took them out of their element. Christopher Reeve, he'd been involved in some dramatic roles, but he was very still known as Superman. And Christy Alley, she was known more as, a bit of a comedy, a supporting actress, and she was and they were out of their elements in these roles, and it really kind of made you feel uncomfortable, because you don't want nothing to happen to them, because you always love the other characters that they're playing on television or something else.
Yeah, you're right.
And Carpenter was really good at doing that, taking and making them really go against type too. I mean,
a lot of times. I mean, he's really good about doing that, about getting a performance out of an actor that was surprising.
Yeah.
People didn't expect.
like Lee Van Cleef in Escape from New York. I mean, nobody hadn't seen Lee Van Cleef had been in the film for a very long time, and I think he originally had wanted like not Charles Bronson, but Lee Marvin. He wanted Lee Marvin in the role, and I think Lee Marvin turned him down. But Lee Van Cleef, that is one of the standout of Escape from New York was his performance.
Yeah.
Because he was just a smooth, sly, cool, opposite. He was like Snake Plissken, but he did not step over that boundary. Like Snake Plissken though is his quintessential character. And if it wasn't for a lot of rights, we probably would have gotten more Snake Plissken movies, either directed or produced by Carpenter with Russell in the role.
He did such a good job in that.
Yeah, and that is one of my favorite movie characters.
Oh, same, yeah. Another one that I literally just forgot about, but I think it's an underrated gem is They Live.
Yes, exactly.
It's one of the few movies that I'd say, you could remake that and it would work out, but you'd really have to get the vibe. There's so many legendary scenes throughout that movie. There's definitely problems with that one, but the main focus of the story, about the world not being what you think and the propaganda and all that.
Exactly.
Landed so hard.
Especially nowadays.
Oh, it's even more relevant now, which is kind of crazy, but I just love that movie.
I mean, and it's a perfect allegorization, and the perfect way to when you see in the movie and everything, and that one guy who's trying to break through transmission, and I look at it now, but yet again, you almost get that vibe, like back in you watching, They Live, and you're thinking, God, makes you wonder. I mean, it's like as you said, the propaganda and that movie really still translates, and I hope
the control, like all these things in society, they're here to like take advantage of us and give us the wrong message and make us like hate these people or not want to do this or spend.
Yeah.
It's all there, and I know he was making a statement, making a commentary, but it lasted so long.
Yes. And, here's the thing about it. I still see that could have been a potential sequel to Escape from New York, and I could have seen Russell in this movie. But again, bringing Roddy Piper in, as he took a time off from wrestling. I mean, come on. And
I know, yeah. Oh my God.
That movie, I'll tell you what, for a John Carpenter film, he made it feel like a Stephen King movie.
Yeah, the vibes it definitely has the Stephen King vibe and less of Carpenter's vibe. You can see that he was like, no, this is his story. I'm going to shoot it and film it this way, You definitely get that energy.
And you still got the synthesizing type when he was, music along with it.
It's just, again, the music always amplifies everything. I swear half of my Halloween playlist every year is Carpenter, maybe 75%.
Same here. I mean, my Kindle, I've got a whole playlist. I've got Halloween 2 on soundtrack. I got Vampires. I've got the best of John Carpenter. I've got Anthology John Carpenter. And
yep.
My Kindle.
The song that you started with, I think it's Skeleton.
No, it's, what is it?
Where is that?
It's from Lost Themes.
Yeah, because I used that song. I used as my ringtone for.
So did I.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Night. It's Night from Lost Themes 1. And my wife hates this music. She doesn't even like any of Carpenter's music or movies at all.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, how do I know why I was trying to date you, but how did I date you? But
I wasn't so used to it. If it pops up on the playlist, she goes, "That's John Carpenter," and I go, "Yeah." She goes, "That's pretty good." Yeah.
Okay, some men are lucky. Okay, some men are lucky. Josh, thanks for rubbing it in. I appreciate it.
Well, I swear, I'm married up. I love that.
But again, yeah, I mean, it's, you got so much. I mean, you got the Mouth of Madness. There's another movie.
Another one,
With Sam Neill, and and a lot of that gets done. Those scenes from that movie kind of gets used as memes, especially when Sam Neill's yelling. That I see that a lot in a lot of videos on YouTube.
It definitely got memed up and get stuff everywhere. Like everybody uses those as rackets because some of them are so strong.
Now, I would have loved to seen more collaborations between Carpenter and Dan O'Bannon, who went on to create Aliens and other properties himself. But they did Dark Star, which was Carpenter's first film, and it was a college project that they basically had to steal from the college in order to get it made into a full-length feature. And there's a great documentary around here on YouTube about the making of Dark Star. I highly recommend it. It is, for a low-budget film, it's something like, it's like something you made at home if you look at it in the long run. I mean, it's a really good commentary on social life, on the time of the social atmosphere at the time. But I mean, if anybody gets a chance to watch that, folks, Dark Star is it's a perfect movie, and it also has elements of what ended up going into Aliens. And then the second, and of course the music is Carpenter at his best. And then again, his second film, Assault on Precinct 13. I love the ending of that movie, and I don't mean to spoil it with him, but when the main character who's the prisoner is about to be walked out with handcuffs, the lieutenant pushes the cops away and don't do that to him, and he looks at him and says, "I'd be honored to walk out side by side with you." And they start walking, and then dun 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 dun. And they're walking out standing tall because they had fought off an army with towards the end bats and nails and everything that was left. And the movie just the movie had its faults and everything. It's a low budget movie, and it was just and they remade it, unfortunately, and fought off an army with towards the end bats and nails and everything that was left. And the movie just the movie had its faults and everything. It's a low budget movie, and it was just and they remade it, unfortunately, and totally just stayed away from the source material. I mean, that would have been a perfect way to reshoot that in a different fashion, but in the same atmospheric style that they were doing at that moment.
Famously, that movie, the music for that movie was what got Donald Pleasance to do the part Halloween, his daughter.
Exactly.
And music was really pretty good for that movie. You should do that one. He's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you're like, wow, had that not had landed, he wouldn't have done the music. He probably wouldn't have gotten an actor of that high quality, with Donald Pleasance. Just love that.
Well, I mean, and his later work though, Ghosts from Mars, which I couldn't go through it. I mean, and it sucked because it was the one Carpenter film I could not finish.
It's pretty rough. I keep forgetting that he did that one, but every time I've tried to watch it, it is a hard watch.
Yeah, and then the Ward, where they had Amber Heard, which was a psychological thriller, which was a small indie film, which it worked because of that presence. He was able to keep the suspense going. I mean, it drug on a lot. And it's one of those God, you get to a point where it's well, when the hell is this going to end? But he kept the suspense going until you didn't know, until that basically to the end of the shot, what was going on. Then you finally realize what's going on. But I mean, now Carpenter, he went back. Luckily, he went back and with Jamie Lee Curtis, and they did this new Halloween trilogy. He added him and his son and his son's friend. They did the music for it, and it felt like a finale for him, like a proper finale to go out with the with the project and the material that made him John Carpenter.
Like returning home.
Yeah. I mean, and now he tours with his music and performs his music, and you know he's got a second life now. I mean, and you know, would I love to see him go back and do another film with Kurt Russell? Absolutely. I'm there. You got my money. I don't care if it's on a streaming platform or whatever. I'll buy that platform just for that movie alone. It doesn't matter, because I do think that there's another movie left in them. Whether it's a Snake Plissken film, which I do think there's one more. I don't want a remake. I want a trilogy of Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken. Afterwards, you can hire as many other people you want as Snake Plissken to, like James Bond.
Yeah. I mean, hell, if you did one more movie, it was just, you know, Snake Plissken's final ride, just his last ride. Like, just give me a Logan-style story with him.
That's exactly. And you know what? And I always saw, and I think Logan, the character of Wolverine, came out a little bit before Snake Plissken, but you can see the similarities of that character, the anti-hero.
Oh, yeah. In fact, you can even say, like, the Wolverine that we got in the early stages of the main Wolverine comic past the mini four-parter, you can see so much of that DNA of Snake Plissken in him.
Yeah.
And you can see that they definitely were like, we need a character who's got that kind of a vibe. Throw him into the jungle somewhere and say, go fight these guys, and he'll do it.
Yeah.
You can be gruff about it, and you can be like, damn it, you know. They're almost interchangeable. If I had lines being said to me, I could go, that's either Wolverine or Snake Plissken.
And again, the lighting, you know, it was filmed in St. Louis, in the area of St. Louis that was burned out from a fire, and you know, and maybe they were only like in New York for a day at Liberty Island and filming there. But you know, again, you know, Nick Castle co-wrote New York with Carpenter, and Castle was the Shape. He was the original Shape in the original Halloween film, and of course, we know Nick Castle went on to direct great films as well. But again, I would say when my brother and I were making our own independent films in the late '90s and early 2000s. We didn't go to film school or anything like that, but Carpenter was our film school.
Yeah, same. All the little short horror films I ever made, I always looked to him. And all the people who worked on those movies just for tips about how to you know, do guerrilla filmmaking, how to make shot work, how to build suspense or use lighting or any of that. It was always him and Sam Raimi. There was like the two guys that I would look at and go, ooh, they did this. It was a cool little rig they built, or this is a cool shot they used, or so I feel you 100%.
So, but again, what's the one film out of all his work I'm going to recommend people to check out? Escape from New York, and then kind of backtrack a little bit, but that would be the one I'd say go see Escape from New York first, and you're going to check out a Carpenter film. What's that one film that you would tell the people to go see first?
Damn. I mean, I feel like if you've never seen anything, it would have to be Halloween for me. But if you've seen, like, the main couple, and you've never seen another one besides, like, maybe Halloween and The Thing, I would recommend Prince of Darkness.
Right.
I would go for one of his underrated, under-talked about films, just to really get a gist of, like, how fantastical and strange and kooky and cool his movies can be. I would go for something like that. All right,
folks. Well, you got it from here. We're two Carpenter fans who we're hardcore, diehard Carpenter fans. You know, every Halloween, that's what I'm playing. I know that's what Josh is playing when it comes to his films. I appreciate a lot you coming on again, and you played double duty. You did 2 episodes with me today.
Hey, no problem, man. Happy to do it.
Well, as we were just talking about, I left out of all the gunfire and smoke and everything. I'd be honored if you walk out the door with me, man.
Yeah, right.
All right, bro. All right, folks. That's all the time we got and everything. Be sure to leave a comment down below and let us know what is your favorite John Carpenter film. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to us on YouTube as well. This has been the Movie Dawgs Show podcast.
Hey, like and subscribe. Be sure to check out more of the content on the Movie Dogs channel. All the reviews and cool remarks and cool guests like me, Josh Church, the owner of River Monster Comics. We are in Dunnellon, Florida, so if you're ever in the area, come by and check out the shop and get some cool nerd stuff, comics, pops, toys, whatever. And swing by and just have some cool conversations about movies and all things pop culture. We appreciate you. See you soon.